Hi folks. I remember I watched a video by Satguru a while ago, and he spoke about the suicide rate amongst, I think it was teenagers or young adults, like increasing to like a ridiculous percentage. I think the title of the video was something, I think it was like 50% expect 50% of people to commit suicide. And I think something like that. It was, whatever, don't misquote me, you can check out the video, probably on YouTube, still around. It wasn't that long ago. And, he explains more so in the video. He says, well, like, the child has already experienced the world on the cell phone. Right, it's had so much access to the world and movies and pictures and songs and games, and not just a child but a teenager, and they've seen so much on the internet already and on social medias and things, and like so much that, I'm adding a bit of my own feeling to his message, but basically that it will reduce life to really banality. I don't know what the verb would be. Banality, like just very average, very, because you've seen it all. It's like, for example, for myself, I've been trying to design this app. I have an app idea. And I came across it on my own, and I thought it up, and I saw a need for it, and I think it's still possible. It still has potential. But along the way, I've just come across how many other apps there are out there. There's an app that will tell you how many times you've been to the toilet. There's an app that will, your neighborhood app, your family, whatever, all your medication app. It's like just about everything, and it's frightening how many apps there are. Your meditation app or something. And yes, these apps help us tremendously, but what I'm saying is that there's just so many of them, and it's just like apps are running the world, and cell phones are running the world, and social medias, and Netflix and Showmaxes and all those things, and all this like massive force of entertainment that we know that is making us dull, and it's making us feel irrelevant, and the information is so much that it's just all information, all viewership, everything in life is just coming down to being mediocre. Benign, it's like, and many other things. Obviously we're being desensitized by the violence and the dramas and the news headlines and things like that, but I'm just saying that there just seems to be that there's no thrill anymore. The thrill is gone, and it's sad to see that. It's like, I'm feeling that, we're in a lot of trouble, obviously, because eventually we're going to need more stimulation. Like, it's the cell phone, watching the cell phone being on the cell phone while watching TV is not going to be enough stimulation, right? The TV shows, no matter how much there are, eventually I think people are going to start getting that irritation and that restlessness again, right? And maybe the inner voice, the authentic self or something will again start speaking a little bit, and that's not what they want to be hearing. They want to know reality. They don't want to know reality. So you need, again, like your tolerance grows, so you need more and more. Like even with pornography, you need more and more. You need more extreme stuff as well. It's horrendous. And so with foods and alcohol and addictions, you grow a tolerance to it, so you need more and more. And so for ourselves, the next step has to be VR, virtual reality, in a big way. And I was thinking about this because, again, the desire for all of this is because life will become so dull and boring and not interesting, even though we have all the access to all the videos, all the information that's available in the world, how to build, a sandcastle on YouTube. Sometimes I've had to look at that interesting stuff, to build your own boat, to, your own recipes, to just about like information about nature, about it's just amazing what's out there, the availability that's out there of videos, of TVs, whatever it is, of discussions, of news around the world. Wow, but the thing is that all of it's becoming, irrelevant in a way. Again, we're losing the, obviously, because we're looking for meaning, which is being substituted for, and so we lose. The HD cameras are not HD enough. We need more filters and better quality pictures. Whenever I'm walking near the beach and I see people taking photos, and I see the photo that they're taking, it looks nothing like the scenery. When I see people taking photos or someone asks me to take a photo of them and I have a look at the photo, and it's like, that looks nothing like the reality of things. And so, we need all those, what do they call them? When you, Snapchats, I think it is. I'm not even I don't know what it is. When you have the camera focused on you and you get doggy ears or something like that, or stars floating around, or you're wearing glasses all of a sudden, it's, I've done a video on, what's this called? Not virtual reality, but I forgot what it's called. But you know what I'm talking about. Augmented reality. Okay. And so, but as quick as one of these new designs come out, like one of these augmented realities, we're already bored with it. Okay. So again, our tolerance has grown higher, and so we're needing more novelty in this area, and so VR will be the next step. There's no question. I'm blocking the mark. There's no question about it. And VR is going to make our current cell phones, the top of the range cell phones that we have now, look like VHS video machines. Remember VHS? I'm sure some of you listeners, you're in your early 20s, don't even know VHS. But VHS before DVD. Right? And there was something else before, but VHS videos or tapes, remember? Tapes that you would, with the magnetic strip of strings, I don't know what you want to call, you know what I'm saying? That you put in tape recorders, right? And so VR is going to make our phones, so a brand new cell phone, now look as just as archaic, right? As how the telegram used to be, or the fax machine. And still people you still use fax machines, but how obsolete or how archaic it really was. We don't realize that we're just on the tip of the iceberg in regards to technology, right? And we can't even handle it. We are so consumed by it that it's taken over our lives completely and utterly. Okay, I know that on so many people, I know that their lives are complete if they just have their TV and their cell phone. They don't need people in their lives. They don't need to go outdoors. They don't need anything. All they actually want is to be able to be on their cell phone while watching TV. That's really, and I'm telling you, I see people that their lives are in ruins and whatever it is, but they don't care. And they don't need company of others anymore. We don't need each other's companies. Some of us do. But for most, I'm telling you, I see it in people in my life. As long as they've got the couch, as long as they've got the TV, as long as they've got the phone, they're happy as a pig in shit. They couldn't care. Right? They're constantly on the phone. Even when they're eating, they're on the phone. And they don't want to be present. I mean, just with their food and the blessing of having food and things. They don't want that. They don't even know that anything like that exists. Their whole life has been is to the convenience of the cell phone, of the information of the cell phone and the television, and that's what it's been reduced to. Right? And so we know that. But so what I'm saying is that we are already in deep, hey? We really are, and there's no backing out. It's only going forward, and so VR is going to take us. I mean, I've been watching videos on VR and how intense VR really is, and then again, wide up to 5G. So people are literally going to be just sitting with these goggles. Well, I think it'll be goggles, what that VR headset that you put over your eyes. But eventually, it's going to just be reduced to wearing glasses, and then everything's going to be augmented. So people will not be seeing reality at all. I was thinking, then how are we going to be able, because we're so irresponsible, how will we be able to drive and wear these glasses, these Google glasses or whatever it is, these augmented realities? How are we going to do that? And I was thinking there'd probably be a device that as soon as you start going over like 2 miles per hour or 3 miles per hour or 5 kilometers per hour, that the glasses switch off. Because we won't be responsible enough to switch off the glasses while we're driving. Seriously, we're not even responsible enough to stop texting while we're driving. Texting, I'm on the highway with people and I just see them in front of me just veering off into the lane in front, the lane on their right or the left. No indicator, nothing. They come back to the middle lane and I manage to just, I sort of put my foot down and drive past them and I see them on their phone. They're texting on their phone. And maybe it is something serious. Maybe like it is, I don't know, something, but it's, a lot of the time I'm sure it's not. A lot of the time it's probably just replying to be like, hi girls, so coffee's on for later, can't wait, see you, bye, love you, or something like that. It's generally going to be superficial. Anyway, and so these VR headsets is going to take us, by further storm. And really, the human being, if they'll be able to, because machines are taking over a lot of the industry already. I was watching this thing in Japan and in China, and how machines are replacing like the people in the sweatshops, The machines do a much better job. They're quicker, they're thorough, the quality standard is higher, there's less money, the company doesn't have to pay salaries, and they're just cutting people out of the workplace by the dozens, tens of thousands every day. It's like, because these machines are being, replacing them. And so we won't have jobs to go to. There won't be a need for that many, and so VR is going to save us. I'm saying people are not going to have anything else to do but plug into VR, right? And they'll sit on their couch and they'll work from home on VR, okay? Because a lot of everything else is going to be automated as it is. Yeah, sure, someone's got to work the fields and produce the foods. But what I'm saying is there'll be a massive amount of the population, right, for those who do have electricity and can charge their VR headsets. But everybody's got cell phones, even people that live in third world countries that don't have electricity, right? They're jacked up to solar or whatever it is, and that's it. People are moving. More people are being put on the grid every single day. So there will be we don't understand the extent of it, and I don't know enough about it to even talk about it really. But VR, we won't get off our couches. We won't, unless we need to pee or take a dump or something like that. Physical body urges. That's going to be one of the biggest problems, and food. So we'll probably get like intravenously dripped lines, into our arms while we sit in the VR, because we won't be able to really function. What I'm saying, like in that movie, what was it called with Bruce Willis? Yeah, that was a frightening movie. What is it? Bruce Willis and I don't know who the other actors were involved, but where they all use robots to people just lay in a chair, which plug them into a robot that walked around for them in the real world. I can't remember what the name of the movie is. And so robots literally, are just walking around, driving, doing everything while the person lies in their chair at home in their sort of gown, their bedroom gown. And I don't quite know how they eat in that movie. Maybe they just managed to stumble across to the kitchen and I don't know. Obviously the robot brings food home for them. So the robot goes out and gets takeaways or something like that. And then the person, is able to. But obviously they've got to go to the loo and things like that. And I don't know. Obviously there's flaws in the movie. It's a movie. So how would the person go to the doctor? Because you have to take your physical body off to or the doctor would come to see you and the doctor's a robot. But if you had to go and have medical care, because the problem is that the people, you can't leave your houses because, people, they feel so vulnerable now. They feel their body, because when the robot is out and about, the robot can be injured and it's no problem, right? You don't feel the pain. So the robot takes the beating for you. So that's what happened with Bruce Willis's robot. His robot gets blown up, and now he has to walk in the street, as a human being, and he's just overwhelmed completely, and it's just too anxious for him. Just can't manage. That's what life's becoming about already for most of us for those of us who, sit at home a lot of the time, and we can't socialize properly. A lot of people are having, social anxieties off the charts. This is already happening, folks. People don't want to leave their houses. They don't want to go out in nature. They don't want to. It's real, folks. It's serious. And so we don't want to be socializing. We're doing shopping on the internet anyways, right? Then gets the stuff delivered to your house. I mean, you have apps now that when you order your food and it's delivered to your house, they'll tell you where your order is. It's halfway in the kitchen. It's halfway cooked. They're packing it now. It's being, the delivery guys picking it up. Now it's on the way to your house. And you can even track the guy. Oh, he's 2 minutes away. He's 1 minute. Oh, he's at the door. Okay, thanks. Gives you the food. It swipes off your credit card. You go back to your TV and your cell phone and you chow your pizza and whatever it is. So people at the checkout counters, they're just going to be replaced by robots and stuff. That's how it's going to go. And so most of our time, for a lot of people, are just going to be, oh my goodness me. And I just think about the next generation. The generation to come. I'm saying that my nieces and nephews from the ages of 6 to 15 years old or 13 years old, like what's it going to be like in 10 years time when they've been well adjusted to cell phones, they've grown up with it, and they have the social anxieties and all the, and all the desperate needs to be online all the time and hooked up and, plugged in whatever it is. And when VR comes along, and augmented reality, and that's it. So people are not going to leave their houses anymore. We'll meet each other through our VR headsets, because we'll be able to see each other virtually, right? There'll be apps, there'll be programs of all kind that, you can see the person virtually in front of you, right? And they'll choose their type of person that they want to look like, right? You know what I mean? Like, like in that movie, Surrogates, that's it, with Bruce Willis, Surrogates. And that's it, so you'll choose a surrogate, your virtual surrogate for yourself, and it won't look like you, and we'll probably be, so this will be the beginning stages. Who knows how far out it's going to go. But we're not going to have cell phones anymore. To actually hold a device in your hand, it'll be too tiresome for us to do. It'll be too much manual labor. It will be too much manual labor. I mean, we could easily have these VR headsets wired into our brains, okay? And I'm saying that when we think and we whatever it is, we look around, then the VR headset, it will respond accordingly through our thoughts, because we are so darn lazy. It's so scary. It's so scary. People, I see it watching television and the remote control doesn't work, and they're so lazy they have to continuously press the button because the battery is low on the remote, and they're not even getting, and they're like, oh, this is draining me. Why won't it change? And I'm like, even too lazy to lift your hand and your thumb. It's too much effort. I'm telling you, we are going to be so lethargic. We're going to be so darn lazy. We've got to be so overweight that to move the body is going to be painful. I know I'm painting a beautiful picture here of the future to come. This is only one perspective, one angle of it. But I can't believe the level of laziness and the level of distraction and to not want to have anything to do with reality. Do not want to represent yourself in an authentic manner at all, whatsoever, right? You're more comfortable, choosing your profile picture or whatever. On Facebooks and your Instagram photos, and that's what you want representing to you. So in virtual reality, And that will be the novelty. And you see, that will be the problem. That will be the final ending, in a way. Well, the final ending will be that eventually somehow we completely wire ourselves up to our technology. And it takes care of all of it. Or, I don't know, maybe we download our consciousness eventually or something. I don't know if that's possible. But that we will actually be plugged into a food system, to like in the Matrix, basically. You know, the womb. Well, what do they call it? Well, you'll be fed intravenously, you know, through, the machine will just feed you. You know, you'll be wired up into your veins. You'll have something that when you poop and you pee, you know, it will just extract it for you or something like that. And you'll just, that's it. That's exactly what we're going back into. That's the start of the Matrix in that way. You know what I'm talking about in the first Matrix? When Neo, you know, he wakes up and you know, and he's covered in all that goo and he's naked and his head shaved and, you know, he's just got all these cables connected to him and whatever it is. You know, in that womb, what they call it, I think what they call it, or something or other, and he wakes up and he looks at all of them. You know, he looks at hundreds and thousands and millions of these eggs, in a way that all other human beings are just lying in while they're hardwired into the Matrix, baby. Yes, like that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. And we will beg for it. We will beg for it. We don't want to know reality. That will be it, eh? That's the next step in evolution. And the machine will be hardwired into the machine. Wow. And the machines will monitor us while we incubate it or something like that. But the problem will be climate. So there are issues. I mean, it's not all said and done. But there is issues. It can't, I mean, like I'm saying, you know, I'm prophesizing here or whatever it is. I'm trying to work it out and in a very incorrect way. I'm saying very inefficient way. But like, yeah, what happens if the climate will just screw us over? You know, or something. I don't know, what the temperature rises by a few degrees or drops by a few degrees and then we're finished. Now, how's it going to work? Unless we're visited by some extraterrestrials that are already machine-like, Borg, in their way, and they set it all up for us. Can you imagine, folks? I mean, this is far out, you know, science fiction stuff. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe we get visited by extraterrestrials who we think they're extraterrestrials, but really they're robots. I'm saying they're very highly evolved robots or something far out. It's AI, baby. It's AI. And we're visited by AI in the beginning and they say, look, your planet's in trouble. We can get your climate right, but, you know, and at the same time, they're selling the next wave of technology and VR, and we're all just being warmed up to it. We're just being herded into the post-human world. That's it. You know, we think we're using our machines. We don't realize that our machines are using us. Wasn't it Marshall McLuhan who said that we are the testicles of our machinery? Man has become the testicles of his machinery. That we the part of machines just use us in a way. I mean, they use it for many things, but just for their own, production. So we can design and we can develop and we can, the apps and the softwares and build the machines and the robots and the pieces and, the cogs and whatever it is. And so we can do it and that's it. We are the children of technology, and I'm saying software, technology, and hardware. That's what we really are. We think it's the other way around. But we don't realize we've given ourselves over to the machine. And we're doing it daily. This is not I'm sorry, folks, it's not a pretty picture, but it seems to be what it is. And if you want to have to face the music and get real, you have to face the music. I'm doing this while recording this on my cell phone. Thing of wonder. Just press a button. And it's heavy stuff, eh? And seeing all your loved ones and you know, plugging in more and more every day and seeing the younger generation, you know, and you have an idea that within 10, 15 years, 20 years from now, we're just going to be going back to the womb, because that's I mean, Freud's got opinions on that what we're trying to do is just regress back into the womb so we can be taken care of and protected, and, you know, and we don't have to work for ourselves, and we have this, you know, the oceanic experience. That's all we're after. But it's because so we don't have to become, we don't have to self-actualize. Right? Because it's too scary to do that. It's too frightening to do that, to be an individual. So that's why there is something called the collective, which is a womb. The word city apparently is the original word for city, or where it comes from, is the word womb. Even our language, eh? Anyways, and so, yeah, big stuff happening on this planet, folks. Big stuff. Unbelievable. So maybe the next step is, the only way that we can go full-blown VR download ourselves, I'm saying hook, line, and sinker, like wire ourselves in, is, and you know, we don't have to have sex to have babies anymore. Because you can say, well, if we're living in these vats, that's what I think it's called, if we're living in these vats, then how are people going to procreate? You don't need to procreate. We won't need it in the near future. We won't need it. You don't need to have sex anymore, folks, to have children. You need to have the womb, but I mean, the womb can be, you know, artificially designed or whatever it is. You get into deep questions here about soul. I mean, here and many of these things, you know. What is soul? Anyway, so is that the reality? Is that the future? And how now we are just being, what's that word, marinated. We're just being marinated for it now. You know? And so we think that these guys like Bill Gates and, you know, Amazon, Google, I don't know all these people's names, Mark Zuckerberg, whatever it is, we think that these people are evolving humanity for the greater, better good, and they have no ties and connections to other type of industry. Like, they got no connections. They just came up on their own out of nowhere. Netflix all of a sudden appeared in 2016 out of the blue and released over 100 shows on their first night of opening, brand new TV series, movies, you just about name it. They just came out of nowhere. They before were a DVD company and used to post DVDs back and forth. And now all of a sudden Netflix came out of nowhere, and Showmax. Even though behind it all there's been Warner Brothers that have been around for however many decades, and all these other, you know, production companies, huge, billion-dollar, and all of a sudden they just let Netflix come in and take over in such a big way. Do me a favor. These people, the Zuckerbergs, the Amazonian guys from Amazon, I've never used Amazon, you know, and whoever it is, it's not independent, you know, guys doing it from their garage type of style. You know, it's not like that, folks. These guys are connected. It's deeper than that, folks. They're part of the bigger agenda that's, you know, adjusting the human being to become the machine, to, you know. It's morbid. But isn't it morbid? Isn't it really disheartening when you look around at people and they're all glued to their cell phones? Isn't that morbid? How you know, people can't drive without talking on their cell phones or texting on their cell phones? Isn't it morbid to see children at restaurants with these big screen TVs, you know, holding them in their hands, you know, and not being part of the adult conversation or something like that? Isn't it awful? And isn't it morbid to see how people don't like to communicate? I know people are uncomfortable. I try to meet people in person. They get all weirded out, and it's like, I don't know you. What are you, you know? or something. I can talk to me through Facebook or something. I'm telling you, it's morbid, folks, to see people just walk in the streets at night and just see that blue screen coming out of people's living rooms, just flashing about, and you just see them staring at these huge, massive TV screens with the light off and these colors just pulsating with HD, and you just see them. And what are they watching? Oh, folks, I'm sorry, yeah, it's heavy, yeah. Jesus, it's heavy. I have these moments where it like really builds up and it hits me, and I'm like, wow, this is true. This is actually going on. Like right now, I'm sitting in this evening time. I can guarantee you that 90% of the people in this country, the ones that have electricity, probably even higher than that, 95% of them are all sitting in front of screens. That's heavy. That's heavy. And again, not just screens, folks, but what's on the bloody screen? Yeah, so anyways, that's how things are, folks, and that's where we're going, and that's what happens. And there is this kind of evolution, I think, that is happening. I do think that I, for one, will not plug myself into a machine. Will not, go into a VR world. McKenna spoke about this in very nice ways in virtual reality. How will we be able to design worlds and show each other the worlds that we design, which is beautiful. In VR we'll be able to do that, design our houses and whatever it is, our own worlds, and then invite each other into our worlds, and that will be wonderful and very psychedelic. But I think we still need to get back in touch with our own authenticity, because that's been really, our own healing. I think we need to go back to simplicity, to ourselves, before we jump into VR land and world and things like that. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm not sure if most of us are interested. Those of you that are still listening this far, that's what we're really interested in doing. Is building and designing worlds to show each other what it's like. No, we're just looking to sit down and have normal conversations with one another, and live in a place where we can, live close to nature and not be harmful to the planet or whatever it is. We can live within the spirit. We don't need VR, folks. We don't need Facebook, okay? I mean, to use it, we're blessed by these things. We do need YouTube. We do need it, but I'm saying we don't need it for our survival. Right? We don't need it. And if we could all come together, we won't need technology, I'm telling you. Intuitively enough, we'd be able to use our own senses to feel what other people are feeling, to communicate with one another telepathically. I mean, we really could, folks. We really could. And I think that's where we're headed. I think there's two evolutions going on. I think there's one that's going into the womb, and then there's one that's going into the angelic, there's one part that's going into the womb, going into the machine. That's what I mean, the vat, okay? I think it's called a vat, I don't know. And the other one that's becoming more angelic. Senses are switching on, intuition is getting higher and stronger, heart space is opening, heart is taking more of the driver's seat, authenticity is more available, freedom of choice is being utilized, creativity, imagination, etc. Healers, warriors of all kinds, brilliant minds, angels, for lack of a better word. And so that's it. Well, I'd like to consider myself on that side of the scale. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to plug myself into a machine. Right? I'm not going to wire myself into a machine. I'm already wired enough, and it's uncomfortable. So I'm not going that direction. And I think, folks, those of you that have especially made it this far, you don't want to be plugged into machines either. In fact, you're so tired of machines. You're so tired of cell phones. You're so tired of connecting with with others through the internet. You're tired of it. You're tired of the unnatural environments that we live in. You're tired of it. You don't want more of it. You want less of it. And you want what's more true and what's more pure and whatnot. And so, and I think that's hopefully where the other side is headed, I think where the other folk that are interested are headed. I don't know, folks, it gets wild, but there needs to be. I'd like to think there really needs to be. And how that's going to play out, again, it's going to get wild, folks. It's going to get wild. I really feel that an extraterrestrial being presented in the world stage, coming forth, is very possible. Is very, very possible. And so we don't know what will come with that, but it's, I don't know. It's just interesting thinking, folks, at least for me. Alright, thank you for taking the time. Really, this has been a long talk. I do appreciate it. If I didn't have you to talk to, I wouldn't have anyone to talk to. So thank you. It means the world. It really does. With that, I wish you well. We'll chat soon. Take care.